Alright, another short video. This video is going to be on head coverings. There's usually two oppositions to head coverings. One is that it used to be it's cultural, therefore it doesn't apply to us. The other one, which I know the apostolics are pretty heavy on, is that it is talking about uncut hair, and that the covering your head, women covering their head, has to do with uncut hair. So, I'm going to address this. I'm sure there's still people that are going to argue with me, but that's the way it is. So in 1 Corinthians 11, and just about the whole chapter, well, half the chapter, is about head coverings. You know, a lot of times people will put the cart before the horse, and what I mean by that is usually in the beginning of a writing you have the main subject and then you break it down. And what's happening here with most people is Paul breaks it down, and then in the most elemental breakdown, try taking that and applying that as being the main subject. I don't know if you follow me on that, but you know, talking about an engine and then getting down into the detail of the piston rings, and then turning around and saying, well, the whole point of all this is the piston rings and not the engine. And that's what's going on here. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up. So I'm going to read here, and it says, So now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them unto you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ. The head of every woman is the man, and the head of Christ is God. So what's the subject matter right off the bat? What are we talking about? Headship. Headship and authority. Who is the head of the woman? It's the man. Who is the head of man? It's Christ. Who's the head of Christ? It's God. So what's the subject matter? Headship. Every man praying or prophesying having his head covered dishonoreth his head. So he's talking about a man's physical head and dishonoring his headship head. In other words, Christ. When a man covers his head praying or prophesying, he dishonors Christ. But every woman that prayeth or prophesied with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head. Whose head is she talking about dishonoring? It's her husband. So when a woman who is married prays or prophesies with her physical head uncovered, she dishonors her head, which is the man. It goes on to say that, but every woman that prayeth or prophesied with her head uncovered dishonors her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. So, if a woman prays or prophesies with her head uncovered, it's like her being bald. That's what it says. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. In other words, like a sheep, really, 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 really short hair. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. Now people say, well, that's talking about uncut hair. Okay, let's just reread that with the thought of having uncut hair. Every woman that prays or prophesies with her head uncovered dishonors, for that is even all one as if she were shaven. So read that with the understanding of having uncut hair. So if a woman has uncut hair, then she should be shaven. What? If you don't have uncut hair, you should be shaven. What the heck? For if a woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. So if a woman doesn't have uncut hair, let her cut her hair. That's what shorn is. If a woman doesn't have uncut hair, let her cut her hair. How do you guys come up with this crap? But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn, which is cut hair, or shaven, let her have hair that's uncut? What? Do you follow me? Like, that logic does not make any sense at all. If a woman be not covered, in other words, if a woman doesn't have uncut hair, let her have cut hair or be shaved. Do you see? It doesn't make sense. For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for so much as he is the image and glory of God. Now we're going to get to why with headship in mind, authority and headship. Now we're going to understand why a man is not supposed to cover his head, because he is the image and glory of God. But it says, but the woman is the glory of man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. Now we're getting into misogyny. God doesn't seem to have a problem with that. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause, now here's the argument against people that say that head coverings are just cultural and don't apply to us anymore. For this cause ought a woman to have power on her head because of the angels. Do you remember the angels coming down and have sex with humans, with women? Okay, so this goes way beyond culture. This is why a woman is supposed to cover her head, because she is showing submission and authority, submission to her husband. She is putting power on her head. It's another way of showing that she is under his authority. And then it says, nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither woman without the man in the Lord. But that doesn't change what he all just said. For as much as the woman is of the man, so is also the man by the woman. But all things are good. So judge in yourself. Is it comely that a woman prays unto God uncovered? Does not even nature teach you that if a man have long hair? Now this is where people say, see, it has everything to do with uncut hair. It does not. This is an example. He says, doesn't even nature teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him, but if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her? You think this has to do with hair being the covering, and I'm telling you, it doesn't. He is making a good point here, and another example of why a woman is to cover her head. If a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her. Who is the image and glory of the man? Or man is the image and glory of God. Yes? Woman is she's made from the man, for the man. Well, a woman is a man's glory. The woman, her glory is her hair. She is to cover her glory to show the observer that she is in submission to the man. And he's saying, even nature teaches you that a woman's long hair is her glory. And he goes on, he just says, if any man seems to be contentious, we have no such customs. The customs there are that women should not have women need to have their head covered. So again, if you think that this has to do with uncut long hair, you're dead wrong, because if you read it and put the words in there, it makes absolutely no sense at all. I'll just recap extremely shortly here. If a woman be not covered, translated uncut hair. So if a woman doesn't have uncut hair, let her cut her hair. It's 1 Corinthians 11:6. Put the words in there if you're saying it's uncut hair. If a woman be not covered, so if a woman doesn't have uncut hair, let her also be shorn. So let her cut her hair. But if it be a shame for a woman to have cut hair or to be bald, shaven, let her be covered. It doesn't make sense if that's long hair. So you can argue all you want. You can say, but Paul is pretty specific about headship, authority, glory, and women covering their glory, and I don't know what else to say. You can disagree, I really don't care. But also historically, even in the United States, I mean, women wore hats to church, scarves covering Muslims, or the hijab and the whatever, the burqa and hijab. But even in Muslim countries, that's kind of the norm, or at least they push it. Catholics, the nuns covered their hair. A lot of cultures, you go back in history, head coverings were very common. It's a historical fact. What's amounting to now is we just keep departing from the Bible, and I'm not telling you the Bible is true. I'm not telling you it's verbally inspired. I'm not telling you it's inerrant. All I'm telling you is what it says. It's up to you what you do with it from there.